Good afternoon once again, book lovers of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. I am BookNerd822, and in this video I am going to be reviewing this movie called Weapons, which I watched a couple of days ago with Celine, and I rated it a 2 out of 5 stars. As far as I know, it was it even 2 hours long? Not quite sure, but I was honestly very underwhelmed by it. There will be spoilers ahead for this video, although I wouldn't really recommend this movie anyway, so perhaps I am doing you a favor by telling you what happened in the movie. So, I'm not much of a horror fan, and this movie basically confirmed why. Now, there are some horror movies, some thriller movies, which are definitely up my alley, but this one did not hit the spot. I suppose I was meant to feel ill at ease, but I don't think I've loved so much at a movie in ages. The comedy genre is included in that, by the way. Perhaps the last time I laughed so much whilst watching a movie was when I watched The Naked Gun. Um, but yeah, I mean, that was a comedy movie after all. So this was rather ridiculous and mainly revolved around witchcraft, with Gladys being the center of it all. There is this Gladys character who is sick, and she basically uses dark magic to control others, to manipulate the bodies of others in order to restore her own vitality. So, Celine is definitely a bigger horror fan than I, and even she agreed that this one felt all over the place. So, this story is mainly about a classroom of students who all leave home at precisely 2:17 during the night for reasons nobody managed to understand. Apparently, the case was left wide open. Nobody managed to resolve anything, which is also confusing in and of itself because we did get a proper explanation. And there is also a lot of Naruto running going on, which was definitely a knee slapper. It added to the value of the movie. I loved my ass off when all the kids were Naruto running. Some of the older characters were running as well, the adults, and that made it even more hilarious. So, yeah, I mean, one fact which did make it more interesting, which added to the value of the movie, was that it is told from several perspectives. Um, the same scenario is told from many different contexts. Um, and we see them all collide towards the end of the movie. It's interesting to see how they do all come together, um, but ultimately I wasn't particularly impressed either. Only one kid from the classroom is spared, and his teacher is of course blamed for the whole thing, harassed by the people of the town and called a witch as well. Now, my theory towards the start was that this kid was spared because a family member of his was behind everything, and I suppose I was right in a way, because Gladys is a direct relative of his. So the movie starts off with our narrator telling us how the case was never solved, but by the end of the whole thing, Gladys is torn limb from limb, totally dismembered by the weapons, the human weapons she creates using dark magic. Those are the weapons, by the way. It took a while for me to make the connection between the title and the movie. It ultimately did make sense. Um, and it was also hilarious watching them run through everything in their pots to destroy the woman who kidnapped them, to use them as weapons. Now, there are some things which I am still confused about. For instance, what was Gladys's reasoning behind all of this? Now, I understand that she wanted the kids in order to restore her vitality, to cure her disease. But at the same time, why did she also need to use the kids as weapons when she had already depleted them of their life force? Why did she need to be such a selfish person? And couldn't she target anyone else? Why did it have to be children? I mean, there is basically an endless supply of rapists, murderers, and child predators out there, and I suppose um, Gladys could have used them to restore her own life. I'm not sure how much would have changed, why children had to be the target of her dark magic. Also, why use the kids as weapons as well, much like I've been saying, when all she needed them for was to restore her own health? Why did she have to become and even bigger than she already was? upon kidnapping the children, and I definitely think she took it too far. Now, this movie was recommended to me by a friend of mine called Noah. Um, Unfortunately, I definitely did not enjoy it as much as he did. I did not really understand the appeal. I do not understand why people seem to like it so much. This has quite a good rating on Letterboxd. In my case, I strongly disagree. I don't understand the hype at all. And if anything, I think this is already rather overrated. Um, so I couldn't help but think about how traumatized the child actors must have been during filming and how hilarious other scenes must have been to act out. I couldn't really fully immerse myself in a story which I didn't particularly enjoy, so I was looking at it as a critic from the perspective of what the actors were doing rather than the story, focusing on the story itself. And yeah, probably the saddest part was when the gay couple died brutally. They deserved better. And honestly, this was a rather pathetic attempt at a scary movie. Um, in my opinion, of course, feel free to disagree with me in the comment section down below. It would also logically track for the kids to return to normal once Gladys died, once they killed her, but it apparently took them a while to even start speaking again. And to my knowledge, not all of them even managed to recover completely, which doesn't really make sense, once again, logically. I also don't understand how the case was never really solved or concluded if the details are all there, with quite a lot of witnesses, if I do say so myself. Many people died, innocent people suffered as well, and there is plenty of evidence to suggest what happened, including the kid who was never um, really abducted or used. And that is another thing which doesn't make much sense of me. He could have been used because at that stage he was um, quite a bit of an obstacle for Gladys. She should have used him as well. Despite him being family, I don't see why that was where she drew the line. I suppose we did need a bit of a main character to tie things together, but that didn't really track logically either. Um, this was not frightening in the slightest, and the jump scares were extremely predictable. Many of my theories um, were, of course, right on the money. But yeah, honestly, I will give this 2 stars because of how funny I found it to be, rather because of how terrifying or thought-provoking or memorable. But yeah, that is all I had to say about Weapons. Um, Apparently, the Silver Surfer actress Julia Garner is in that one as well. There was also a character I recognized from Everything Everywhere All at Once, if I am not mistaken. Do let me know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, take a look at the rest of my content because why not? It's absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next one, hopefully very, very soon. Bye, guys.